Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Day Darling. I shall see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhollow today, where again we are not doing a Happy Home Paradise customization because I cannot probably record for long enough without having a coughing fit right now. You might hear my voice, at least my voice feels like it's slightly better, but it's better and worse in a weird sense that when it's better, it's not like down here anymore and it like hurts or whatever. It's closer back to its normal pitch, but it feels very uncomfortable. I guess I describe a sensation as basically always constantly needing to sneeze but not needing to, but can't sneezing, except for instead of sneeze, do it with coughs and, excuse me. Because I kind of have mini coughing fits right now. I was going to test myself, go a bit later tonight just because I need to see, because it determines if I should go out or not tomorrow, which I probably won't anyway, but just nice to know. But hello everyone, right now in Fawnhallow it's 5:20 PM on Sunday, October 2nd, 2022. So it's Halloween, something pumpkins, yeah. Sorry Isabel, but we've seen this sort of thing before. But yeah, so that's kind of why, even though I think I sound a little bit better than I did yesterday, it feels a bit more weird, a bit more shaky. It sort of feels like my voice is all over the place, as I will probably need to mute myself quite often to cough, because it's like a permanent tickle in your throat. Yeah, and you might again continuing for, is this COVID, is this not COVID? I don't know. I've still tested negative twice from it, so I'm assuming voice crack. I'm assuming it is COVID, but it just hasn't come up positive. So I'm working under the assumption that it is, because you can never be too safe with that sort of thing. Some of the symptoms line up, but not. I don't think all of them necessarily do. Also, what on fishing turn? Okay. But we're not here to talk about that because there's not really much to say with regard to that. I suppose I'll just be constantly muting myself, and I don't know, a mute button's a very useful button. I mean, I know that sounds like a dumb thing to say, but like, when was the mute button invented? And when I mean for phone calls and that sort of thing, because obviously back in the day of landline phones, or even old telephones invented by Alex Graham Bell, that sounds right. But probably weren't. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't think I've ever used them. When did this guy live? Hold on. Alexander Graham Bell. That's his name, right? Inventor of a telephone. When invent telephone? Oh, T-phone? March 7th, 1876. That's actually, the telephone's actually older. Oh, no, it's older than I thought. No, it actually sounds a bit more right than... It's actually a bit younger than I thought. If I had to make a wild stab, I would have said 1850. I think, or early 1800s. So it's a bit later than I thought, but in the grand scale of things, when do 100 years really all that matter? I mean, not in it matters in a human lifespan, but not in a humankind lifespan, if you know what I mean. But yeah, obviously, his first telephones didn't really have much in the way of a mute button or anything on it, probably because, he was a lot more concerned with actually making it work rather than actually, having excess functionalities, adding excess functionality, not extra, if that's a word, functionalities to it, because, I mean, I always think back to my old IT teacher from secondary school, who basically... we had sort of IT lessons. I've gone a bit of a spiel about my IT lessons back in my secondary school being a bit weird. But we had them before, and especially during GCSE time, we'd had times where we actually work at projects and that sort of thing. And how often he would just be like, make sure you plan things out, number one thing, and make sure you get a base product working before you even attempt to add any other excess things that you think would be a fun or good idea. And of course, every single time, us teenagers never worked on a project before, first time working as a team or whatever, we have ambitious lofty goals or whatever, and we always never get an initial product working, and we always think of all the other extraneous stuff rather than the stuff we actually need to do. There's one IT course thing that we took, I think it was during GCSE year, where basically we're meant to make an app. our team, it started off as a team of 3 where I was meant to be the programmer, and then I was team. It's so weird to think about now. It was me and one of my closest friends. I was a programmer. He was the digital artist on it, and then we had someone else who was the business person. I don't know actually what happened to that third person. You know, I haven't spoken to him since secondary school. We were only super close. No, not super close, but we were reasonably close in that class. But you know, of course, like friends come and go, and you know. To be fair, our friend is pretty artistic, but you know, now he's much more linguistical focused, I'd say, rather than necessarily creative medium. Well, no, creative medium's not really one, like illustrative, rather than illustrative medium, which is something which I've gone more down into. Not that I don't know programming, but I'm not like that deep into rabbit hole. Anyway, our idea was to make to make an organization app, and our team was super great our team was great at marketing because I could do video editing and I could do obviously like very basic digital art. So you know, I remember one of the things we had to do was basically put together like a problem video, basically pitching like why our app needs to exist, and it was basically, I don't know, it was so like flashy, buzzwordy things. It's basically based off as sort of like animated text infographic videos you see where it's just like, the problem with society, the problem with people is the lack of organization or something. You know, your motivation depends on your organization, and like these flashy like text things would appear all over the screen or whatever, and it would be like, you know, with like resounding music or building up to a culmination at the end where it's just like boom, here's a punchline. It was actually a pretty fun and cool well edited. Not I'm gonna say well edited, but you know, for my experience, not badly edited video. Anyway, we made no product. I'm gonna be honest because I didn't know how to program. Basically, none of us really knew how to do much of a thing. And anyway, at some point, we became a team of 4. I can't remember who joined us. I'm trying to think. Hold on. Also, I know we gave it to you. Can we just buy this like immediately straight back? Because it doesn't fit your thematic. I don't know. It was just that one time, you know, we asked Raymond for one of the things, and he was like, "But you're one who gave me this." Oh, okay, we win. We haven't played a game with Phoebe yet. I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, someone else joined us. I don't even remember what he did, to be perfectly honest. I think it was this friend I've got in mind, but you know, I don't really remember what his role was in the organisation. And then we teamed up with another group of 4, because like the groups we were like 10 different groups of 3, and then like the groups, like some people just like dropped out of the course and we became groups of 4, and like groups of 4 came together. So there's a group of 8 of us all together, where I became the secondary programmer, quote quote, and I actually was more in charge of music, quote quote, which, you know, I guess, but it's sort of like a weird thing, you know, as that project manager, as that teacher said, not really where the priority should go in any sort of project. You kind of want like a base product working first. Anyway, you know, person who was the main program, you know, it's just like forced onto a role. Anyway, could she program? She could program okay. Maybe not enough to make an entire app by herself, which is fair. And then like we had like 5. No, hold on. We had like. We had another designer who, ironically, probably now is the best programmer of all of us. Yeah, it's funny looking back on it and seeing how different everything is. Another person who just was like a pseudo designer. How good were they at designing? You know, given the fact that none of us really had much in way of designing skills, because none of us took graphics as a course. Meh, I would say. So it's a bit harshly critical, but you know, I've got something in mind. But you know, I'm obviously not an out this person for, you know, something which happened when we were like 14. Like, who cares? Basically, I mean, I don't even remember what the other 2 people in the group did, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, we made no product in the end. But still, we got a certificate for the course somehow. I guess by, you know, not literally doing nothing for that entire thing. So much of that. But you know, now times are changing. Now I can very much see a project through to the end. I don't know why I'm on this. Anyway. It was a huge, massive tangent to basically be like, you know, Alexander Graham Bell, he probably had his head screwed on straight. Actually, I don't know much about his personal life. Maybe he was a horrible person, so maybe I shouldn't say that so lackadaisically. But, you know, with regards to inventing the telephone, he probably had his head priorities straight, where he was like, make sure it's a functioning product that works, you can actually make a call with it, then we'll add a mute button. Anyway, that's a good Google question. When was the mute button invented? 1956? Oh. That's a television. I guess that makes sense. When was the mute microphone invented? Zoom? Not on Zoom. 1877. A new kind of microphone. When was a mute button added to phones? It's a bit specific. Why hasn't anyone copied a mute switch on Apple? What is this? What? What's a mute switch? Oh, mute switch on the phone itself. You know why people are probably not? Because it's probably like copyrighted or trademarked or something. So, or patented. That's a word, isn't it? I also get the different definitions between them. Well, I guess we'll never know. Is the answer to that one? Yeah. Anyway, so you know, thank whoever invented the mute button for adding it. And, you know, Alexander Graham Bell. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be thanking him because it's not like I'm talking through a telephone. I'm talking through a microphone. I guess thanks to whoever invented a microphone. And then the brilliant decision to combine the two together. So thus I can now, you know, talk without any fear of, you know, randomly coughing up a lung or whatever. It was happening yesterday because I was actually on call with my friends yesterday. And you might be like, why were you on call with your friends yesterday if, you know, your throat was like hurting and stuff? Well, okay, you know, if you had to know, we were playing a little bit of Genshin Impact. We were doing a, you know, these are buzzwords which are not going to make sense if you don't play the game, but we were doing a challenge made of a Spiral Abyss where, you know, we get random characters and we try and, you know, 3-star floors 9 to 11 using the characters we get. And then on floor 12 we had a pick band draft phase. That was a lot of fun, I thought, but, you know, maybe I was the only one who thought about that. I don't know, it doesn't really matter in the end. So basically we were doing challenge modes in Genshin, self-imposed challenges, I suppose, in Genshin Impact. Anyway, another point. At one point when I was doing a challenge, I was actually just like straight up having a coughing fit. So, you know, I've got to thank my friends for actually buying me this stream deck. Because, you know, I put a mute Discord microphone button on here, separate to my OBS mute microphone button. Which, I mean, I haven't really needed that yet, to be honest. But, you know, at some point, having separate OBS and Discord one probably useful. Anyway, I use the mute button a lot, so, you know. And when I say mute, I mean mute microphone. I mean, I know there's like a mute on the keyboard, like, sorry, Captain, get muted. I don't actually know if that mutes it for you, because, I mean, I have a mute OBS one as well. Look, Colin has a mute OBS. You can't hear the boat anymore, but I can. I assume those both mute sound for you. I actually don't know. But yeah, mute button, very useful invention, very helpful thing, you know. A flick of a button, just to be able to, you know, stop things immediately. It's almost a wonder there isn't. I mean, okay, I was gonna say, but it isn't. It's a bit of a wonder there isn't like a visual equivalent, which I do have actually on my stream deck. Are you ready? You get ready to be jump scared in 3, 2, 1. Ah! It's a thumbnail. I guess that's kind of like the visual equivalent of a mute button, you know, like a hold screen or whatever. And I was gonna be like, it's surprising. It's not really like a visual equivalent of a mute button for things, you know, like TVs or whatever. But I guess that's just kind of like the power button. Or like, you know, the power button on like a computer monitor or whatever, but it's not like as immediate, you know. It's not as immediate as like a mute button is on audio. I'm not sure what it is necessarily about. I guess, okay, you know, sorry, finish your thought process before, you know, you start the next sentence. I was going to say, I'm not exactly sure necessarily why a visual mute button, quote, quote, aka turning off a screen or like bringing something up to like just cover the screen, would necessarily have to is not as immediate as an audio one. But then I thought about it for like more than half a second and I was like, okay, well, the audio one is you're probably, you know, there's only like two or three components which you actually have to like directly, you know, okay, 1 to 3 components which you have to like directly stop any power going to at any one time, because it's just a speaker, a loudspeaker, either or maybe on very fancy ones left and right loudspeakers, which is quite easy just to sort of like immediately, you know, to stop two things at once. But I guess with a visual thing is because it's kind of like made up of tons and tons of load of tiny little LEDs or whatever, you know, it's kind of like flicking off like 2 million or so. I had to do like 1920 by 1080 in my head, right? And I was like, you know, just round that to 2000 by 1000. That's about 2 million, isn't it? Yeah, sounds about right. Like lights. Trying to flick that all off immediately seems a little bit difficult probably to do. But now I think about it, I mean, That's kind of like what they're doing already by, you know, refreshing at like a whatever 144 hertz rate monitor, depending on, you know, what one you have in particular. And even then, the requirement isn't that it has to turn off, which it theoretically it can do quite quickly, can't it? Like, imagine you were just like playing a game of it and suddenly it like flashes to a black screen. I mean, the only way to display black on like an LED monitor is to, you know, just turn off all the lights, right? So if it can do that really quickly, why isn't there just like a more of a built-in function, you know? So I've gone back and forth being like, why doesn't the video mute button exist? To, it probably is technically hindered. To, no, it can't be technically hindered. Surely that's, surely there's no way. Because if it was a technical hurdle to be able to like, if it was somehow really difficult to somehow turn all the lights on like an LED screen, which or LCD screen, I suppose this case may be, to something different to what is currently being displayed, then, you know, that doesn't make sense, because how would like anything be displayed on it? Because, you know, really you're looking at a monitor which is just like flashing 60 hertz, 60 times a second, or whatever. That's pretty fast. You know, you don't even need it to be that fast to be imperceptible to the human eye, I imagine. So, basically, the response is, hold on this. In case you heard the story going around, but I unearthed an amazing buried treasure mountain. The truth is, I managed to dig up some old marbles from when I was just a little kid away. Funny how me being excited about finding some old toys got turned into a tall tale of forgotten treasure. Hey, that's a new conversation from you, Apollo. I was going to say. Oh yeah, so surely it can't be a technical obstacle to actually have a visual mute button, but it just, I don't know, I guess people just don't want it. Like, even if I turn my computer screen off, actually, does it do it quite immediately? It's pretty fast. It's pretty fast. I didn't obviously do it with what I'm playing on right now. I did it with my other computer monitor over there, but you know, it's pretty fast. It's just, why don't we have one built in like into the functionality of the OS system? Hello, Vivian. You got here quickly. You also changed your outfit. Like, and I guess the answer is it's not in demand. People don't care nor even want it in the first place. So I don't know why. It feels like something that people would technically want. You know, just sort of like I guess if anything, it's just kind of like a lock screen. Isn't that kind of what you use it for most of the time? You know, like what the times you use a mute button for? You know, you need to stop listening to something, like maybe someone's talking to you in real life and you're playing music and you're like, oh, you know, mute this for a second so I can actually listen to what you're saying, or etc, etc, etc. You basically need to listen to something which is not coming from your computer. The times where you need to basically not see something from your computer screen is far and few between, because at least with audio, you know, hold on, I'm trying to think how to phrase this. Unless you're wearing headphones, it's, you know, if it's just playing like out, like imagine we're looking at TV, because that's, you know, easy to think about. Audio kind of just like goes everywhere, wherever, like fills up the screen. You might be like, well, light kind of like fills up the area as well, kind of, except for it travels in straight lines, and well, I guess it does bounce and reflection. Okay, you know, you got me there scientifically. I tried to catch you on a scientific technicality. What am I even talking about in this episode? And a scientific technicality, but you know, I outsmarted, well, no, underthought myself. But I guess like if you need to like really rapid, if you need to like not see what's on the TV for a second to see something else, you would just not look at the TV screen. So I guess there really is no need for it in the first place. You know, this is why whenever you create products or whatever, you have multiple people and teams working together. Because here I am, you know, clearly if I was like in production, I'd be like, everyone needs a visual mute button, ship it. And then, you know, all the people with the business insights and stuff would be like, what? No one was asking for this. Actually, I guess if you're in business, well, okay, no, if you're in business insights, you'd just be like, no one was asking for this. Why? We didn't ask for you to do this production. Why did you make this? But fine, you know, I mean, just adding to the overhead costs. I was gonna be like, and then the salespeople would be like, brilliant. let's put a fantastic new spin on this and be like, whoa, look at this new feature we got on these brand new television screens or whatever. Visual mute button. I don't really know. You can tell I'm not in sales. But I don't know, they'd probably think of a very creative way to spin that round as a positive in some capacity. Anyway, so I guess visual mute buttons don't really need to exist, apart from hold screens. I mean, I guess they need to exist if you want to make sure that people don't see what's on your screen in a very quick succession, in which case I would just perhaps, you know, recommend just using more caution. if anything, I guess it's just sort of like, it does exist, it's just a power button, and it comes bundled in with, you know, disabling literally everything on the screen. Yeah, I guess there's just not many opportunities where you'd want to solely get rid of the image but keep the audio. Right? Because that's kind of basically what power button for screen does, and you know, well actually no, it keeps the audio as well. I guess that is just what it is. I don't know where I was going with this. Anyway, I'm not an inventor, is the long and short of it, and mute buttons for audio microphones are pretty useful. Anyway, I'm going to cut this off short because, unless I don't have a coughing fit. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Darling. Any likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join me Darling Discord, follow me on Twitter down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, so farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.